in Ephesians, Paul prays over and over again. He prays it in chapter 1, verse 16, from verse 16. You have this long prayer. That prayer in Ephesians 1 actually extends all the way to Ephesians chapter 3. It's a really, really long prayer. He takes a break, sort of, to explain a few things Paul did, but that prayer really, really ended at the end of chapter 3. But in Ephesians 1, in 16 and 17, where he starts the prayer, he prays. This is what he prays. He says, I pray that God will give unto you the spirit of wisdom and revelation in the knowledge of him, that the eyes of your understanding may be enlightened. That the eyes of my understanding may be enlightened, to see the hope of his calling, of God's calling, for us to see the riches of the glory of his inheritance in the saints, and to see the exceeding greatness of his power toward us who believe, according to the working of his mighty power, which he wrought in Christ when he raised him from the dead. See, that's a lot of words. Let me give you the summary of what Paul is saying. Paul is saying that I pray that God will give unto you the spirit of wisdom and revelation, that the eyes of your understanding will open up so you can see the riches of Christ. You can see why God has called us, the riches of what God has done in Christ Jesus. That's what is essentially praying in there. He says that you may come to know the exceeding greatness of God's power toward you, the believer, toward me as a believer. That's the essence of prayer in the New Testament. There's no prayer against your enemies in the New Testament. You see, we just cannot, the New Testament believer just cannot pray like David prayed.